زيتونة بتتمع زيت للجميع، بلا تخوين بلا قطيع، والأرض بالصيف وبالشتي تحملني، وذنوبي وحسناتي، عيلتي وحارتي نشرة أخبار، ولسه بتحكي باسم الدار. They say it's do or die. יש לה עיניים הכי עצובות בגן, והיא עומדת בחורבה שפעם הייתה גן, ובוכה על כל אלה שאינם. הילדה הכי יפה בגן, לשערה עוד ריח השם.
Futures intertwined. We live within the wars. We feel each other's pain. Because of you, I know we must choose a different way.
And we are here not because we're optimistic, but because we refuse to give up hope. As Jonathan Sacks wrote, optimism and hope are not the same. Optimism is the belief that the world is changing for the better. Hope is the belief that together we can make the world better. It needs no courage to be an optimist, but it takes a great deal of courage to hope.
And we have this incredible privilege of the arts. That's our sacred tool, all kinds of arts that have the power to humanize across divides when words fail us. And so not long after October 7th, after we had sort of built our own internal resilience, we opened up very, very delicately, very quietly to the general public, mostly turning to folks that we knew at first, with a series called No Words, because there really were no words. And we just invited artists, Israelis and Palestinians, to come into, and what's happened is that the arts have found this very special role of healing, of bringing together, and thousands of people have come to feel Bet. Over 7,000 Israelis and Palestinians have come since October 7th. So there's actually hope, I think.
When Gaza was being hit constantly, people showed up from both sides. Never before did we have so many artists, Palestinian artists, every week showing up together with Israeli artists. And that, for me, in and of itself, is a statement. Before October 7th, people were afraid of anti-normalization, BDS. but not after October 7th. And I'm saying that because people are making a very conscious choice. They're making a conscious choice for them to build a better future.
Myself as an Israeli peace builder, I'm witnessing how the ability of the Israeli people to, or the Jewish Israeli people to empathize with the Palestinians is, whatever ability we had, which was not very much in the past, since October 7 has only been diminishing. So we need these programs so very desperately and urgently, more than ever. More than just growing the circles of empathy, more than just getting to know each other on a personal or a human level. People-to-people programs have the potential, and again, I want to emphasize the responsibility to foster shared work, to establish strategic partnership, to provide a platform where Israelis and Palestinians can not only just meet, but work together and address the core issues that are corrupting our respective communities. So we got together for 5 days, 10 alumni of the New Story Leadership Program got together for 5 days in Geneva, and we drafted what we call the Phoenix Plan. It is a comprehensive post-war plan of how to create a reality that is more conducive to peace.
We talked about negotiation and how there's this concept in negotiation of, Avi, actually you mentioned this in your opening statement, it's us against the problem and not me against you. And in our discussions about the conflict and us trying to gain a deeper understanding of the conflict really put a big emphasis on that concept. Applying that concept to the conflict and seeing how meat really applies the view of looking at the conflict from a point of view of leadership and innovation and collaboration really just highlights how much resilience comes out of this program.
It's one thing that really gave me a lot of comfort and hope were my experiences at MEET. At a time where telling people on campus that I was Israeli was really controversial, I could easily and openly and freely talk with my fellow Palestinian alumni who were also studying abroad and going through very similar experiences just as Palestinians. And just 2 weeks ago, on my first day back on campus, when I heard about the devastating news about the 6 hostages who were killed in captivity, it was actually a MEET alumni, a Palestinian MEET alumni, Dima, who I spoke to over Zoom and I broke down to, and she was the person who offered me compassion and support at a time where the people on the Americans and just the people on campus didn't really or couldn't really support me and stand with me. And so I think MEET's greatest achievement lies in its ability to bring together Palestinians and Israelis to just recognize the humanity in one another.
To build trust. This is the most scarce resource in the Middle East. And we do this at the Arava Institute through different activities. The major one is our academic program. We bring students together for a university level semester. They live together 24/7 in Kibbutz Kturah for 3 to 4 months. They are in dialogue. They talk about conflict, they talk about politics, culture, personal stories, family stories, Nakba, Independence Day, and this is how they build understanding.
It is a bizarre situation that we encounter all the time where it's easier for us to speak to each other in Jerusalem than it is to come here. And I think that that says something about American culture right now.
On the point of different opinions, a lot of people often ask, how do you bring these people together, and do they just all agree on everything? And the answer is no. Generally, it's very hard to agree about the past. You can hear someone else's version of the past that may be very different from your own. Sometimes it's challenging to navigate the present, but through these conversations with different ideas and people, what we find in our space, and we just finished some community-wide surveying and conversations where this was validated, through those conversations you discover that you share values. And because of those values, even if you can't agree on what happened in the past, you can agree on what to do in the future. And that's what this work is all about.
And we believe, and that is reality, that the only way the Jews inside of Israel will have their safety is when Palestinians get their freedom. And the only way Palestinians will have their freedom is when Jews in Israel have their security. And these both things go hand in hand. Change. And that is what we're doing with our campaign, with our humanitarian guard, with our demonstration. When we go out to the streets, we want to build that political power. And today, after the 7th of October, we've taken it as a mission to build a peace camp that does have within it Jews and Palestinians working towards that goal.
If the kids can do this, I think all of us can do this. So thank you.
Building bridges is actually harder now because it's actually harder for women from Palestine and women from Israel to meet.
When we said as Filbet, we are open no matter what, post October 7th, when we showed up, when the youth chorus wanted a space, we were there. When everybody, like other spaces, kicked out, standing together, and said, we won't have. We were there, and they were there to say, there's a community that is with you.
Victory is a future with Palestinians and Israelis thriving.
So here's where you come in. You may feel hopeless. You may say this was an incredible earthquake and it leaves a deeper ditch of trauma and despair than ever. And you'd be right, but I would also suggest that earthquake shook down a status quo that was frozen for a long time. And coming out of this, we have an unprecedented opening. The question is, what will fill that void? And you can help us turn the one-sided extremists off and turn up the volume on the peace builders. You can help us hold this space that we're opening, hold it open for them, bring their voices to your dining room table, to your synagogue, to your Facebook. Donate to them, and do your friends and family a favor and tell them to do the same, because nothing feels as good as investing in peace. And help us change the conversation.
Salam, salam.